call. We're going to keep this one quick. We're going to keep this one simple. I'm just going to give you guys a really powerful tool you can use to approach things like outreach in order to uncover new insights and ways to improve them. I'm also going to talk a little bit of housekeeping first, though, just before we go completely overboard with the content. So I've been doing this Ask Professor Andrew channel for 2 days now, and it's been interesting. I've uncovered a lot of interesting ideas. It's illuminated some new ideas that I can add to the boot camp. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the etiquette of using this room. So there are 2 steps I want you to take before you ask me a question inside of that channel, right? So moving forward, 2 steps. 1, check frequently asked questions. As I go through and answer these questions, I've been creating new answers to the frequently asked questions inside the real world. Chances are, in about 25% of the questions I'm being asked, I just link them straight to the frequently asked questions because it's something I've already covered and it's there. So step 1, check frequently asked questions. Step 2, if you have a question, before you ask me, ask inside of the stage in the boot camp in which you're at, or ask inside of your Legion, right? Before you do that, because 9 times out of 10, the other students will be able to answer your questions. I'm happy to answer your questions after you've done that. However, if you haven't done that process, it clogs up the time and it makes it to where it's a little more difficult for me to answer deeply each question that is put inside that Ask Professor Andrew. There may be times in the future where I pause intake on that. Like, for example, if I have a major travel day and I can't really answer a ton of questions, I might pause to where you can't ask new questions for a couple of hours or something. So just be aware. If you go in there and you can't ask a question, just realize probably 3-4 hours, I'll open it back up so that way I can make sure I don't get behind. I don't miss anybody's questions. I want to make sure everyone who asks gets the chance to get an answer. But it may be that in order to do so, I might pause intake for new questions for an hour. So I'll usually, if I do that, I will make an announcement inside the announcements channel so you guys will know. So that's a little bit of housekeeping for the Ask Professor Andrew channel. Let's talk about the intro for tomorrow's call. I've got a few submissions, maybe 1 or 2 that I like. The rest are kind of interesting. This is going to be the last chance, probably the next 3 or 4 hours. I guess today is going to be the last chance for you to submit it. I'm going to take the top 3. I'm going to throw them inside of one of the channels and have you guys vote on them. And we're going to pick one from there and use it in tomorrow's power call, because tomorrow is number 100. All right. I want to make it something special. I want to make it something unique. I may be on the road for it, but I want to make sure that it is a unique and rewarding experience for you guys. So I will be sharing some very powerful insights that normally, let's just say you guys are lucky to be my students and have access to it now. So these are things that I don't typically get to share with you guys, but I'm going to make an exception. I'm going to give you guys some special stuff on day 100 because I feel like it. So housekeeping out of the way, let's talk about reverse thought, reverse engineering, and it's kind of like backwards thinking. So when you're sitting down, a lot of you guys are trying to figure out how to come up with unique outreach methods, right? There's a lot of innovation that has to occur for each person to stumble upon and create their own unique method. Again, in the past, I gave you guys a bunch of templates, and you guys just copied and pasted those templates. And the more of you guys that did that, the less effective the templates became. So now those templates serve only as inspiration, and you are required, if you want to be successful, to innovate and create your own outreach method based on some of the same psychology as the original templates, but you have to actually come up with it yourself, which puts a lot more of it requires more creativity from you, which in the long run will help you be more successful, right? If you develop that skill, it's something that will serve you not only with your outreach, but with everything you do inside of marketing and in business moving forward. So here is a way to approach the problem of what should I put in my outreach that will help you come up with some creative ideas and will help you avoid major mistakes. So I kind of picked this up from Alex Hormozy, which picked it up from someone else, or probably picked it up from Tate. Who knows? Someone picked this up from someone, right? But it's a way to think about problems in a backwards way in order to come up with the correct solution. And it goes something like this. You ask yourself, what do I not want to happen, right? What would be the worst thing that could possibly happen in this scenario? And then you figure out what you'd have to do to make that terrible thing happen. And then you just do the opposite of that inside of in order to get the better outcome, right? So in this case, take a look at your outreach and be like, what would I have to write? What would my email and outreach have to look like if we wanted to scare off the most amount of people possible? Like if I was going to write the worst outreach email in the entire world, what would I say? What would I do? What things would I have to do to make it the absolute worst outreach email possible, right? And you're going to come up with some ideas. You're gonna come up with things like, oh, probably insult the person, maybe just like have terrible grammar, make sure the email address is super spammy, send tons of email to the same person without them replying. You'll think of a whole list of a bunch of things that would scare someone away from opening or reading or responding back to you from your email. And you're gonna think of a whole long list. And you're gonna discover that you're doing some of the things that are on that list, like 100%. You're gonna sit there and be like, I've written down 20 things that I could do to scare people off. I'm doing number 7, number 3, and definitely number 12. Unfortunately, I'm definitely doing number 12. Then what you do is you find a way to reverse all of those, or as many of them as you possibly can. You either completely don't do that thing, or you find a way to do the opposite of that thing. So, for example, instead of insulting somebody, you might compliment them. And that's kind of a rough example, right? Again, I don't want to get too specific here because I want you guys to use your own brain. But you can use this reverse thinking, this backwards thinking, this plan for the negative and then invert everything to illuminate new ideas. Your creative ability comes almost entirely from asking yourself the right questions and coming up with good questions. And this is a roundabout, backwards, unconventional way to get to the right answers. It's a weird question that you can ask yourself. So I highly recommend it. Let me double check. I want to make sure. Yeah, the audio is still working. This is one of the few times I haven't checked in the beginning. So excellent. So use this with your outreach. If you're smart, you're already thinking of other ways that you can start using this. You can start using this with the copy that you write, with the sales page, the Facebook ads, all that stuff. You can use the same approach on every type of marketing asset that you create. You can also use it in every single other aspect of your life, fitness, relationships, whatever it might be. So keep this idea in mind. Think about ways that you can reverse engineer this. Think about things that would scare away a prospect and then do the opposite of those things. Figure out how to be the opposite of those things, because so many people inadvertently do these negative things without thinking about them. So if you can do the opposite, you will stand out in a very positive way. So use this idea, use this perspective, apply it. Guys, we've got a lot of good work ahead of us. We have, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but we are, I believe the pendulum is starting to swing in the world, right? There's some new opportunities that are occurring. And now is the time to really, really dive in and make the most of it. So this has been a good call. I'm excited to talk with you guys again tomorrow on day 100. It's going to be spectacular. It might be a slightly different time, slightly different location, but tomorrow's call is going to be a powerful one. You're going to want to watch it, rewatch it. It's going to be one you're happy you're here for, that you'll be able to tell future students inside of this platform, hey, yeah, I was here for that call. I was on that call because I'm going to share some interesting things with you guys. So it's been a good call. I will talk with you guys again tomorrow for number 100.